Everybody, Jay here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the homestead here. If you're just joining us, we are splitting some wood to sell here. We're getting into the selling of firewood to make some money, and we have about 2 cords behind us here. And anyways, I wanted to make this video about what to look for in a wood splitter. So we're going to cover everything you need to know if you're trying to buy a wood splitter. So without further ado, folks, let's roll right into it. We're going to make this short and sweet and to the point. No BS. It's also raining, so I don't want to ruin my camera. So yeah, let's roll right into it. All right, folks, we're going to break this down into a few categories. The first thing is portability. Now, what I mean by portability is how well you can travel with your wood splitter. Main concern is it highway speed rated or is it just small speed rated? This is my county line 25-ton log splitter that I've been running here since we got here on the homestead. I got this for free, which is another story. If you guys are interested in that story, I'll explain it another day. But first thing you want to look for is how well is it towable? Can you go on highways with it? Certain log splitters are only rated, I think this is rated for maybe 40 miles an hour, maybe 50, I don't know, but it's not highway rated. Of course, these small little Chinese tires there with those wheel bearings would never suffice. So that's the first thing you need to consider is, can I tow this around to friends' house, job sites, you know, things like that? That's number one. So let's roll into that kind of segueing off of that. Part number two is how wide is it? What is the profile of this log splitter? Can you get this out in the woods? There are some big wood splitters, really wide stances and conveyors and lift gates and stuff, but can you tow that behind a four-wheeler and get out in the woods without having a 6-foot wide trail? So that's another thing to consider, is how wide is it? How much, you know, space does it take up? Can you tow it behind a four-wheeler? I can get this out in the woods because this is just as wide as my four-wheeler trailer, so my trails are built for that reason. So that takes care of the first and second part. First thing is how towable is it behind a vehicle, and second thing is how wide is it? Can you get it out in the woods? Because if you buy this massive wood splitter and you need to split some 40-inch diameter hickory out in the woods, well, you're SOL, for lack of a better term. So let's move on to the next thing. All right, next thing you want to consider is it a strictly horizontal wood splitter or does it go vertically? Now this county, I'm not trying to sell you on this county line, but this 25-ton log splitter, if I pull it out just a little bit, can split vertically. I can flip this up if I have some really gnarly, really big fat rounds, and pretty much, like for instance, I can take this log, throw it in there, and I can run this splitter vertically if I wanted to. So that's another thing to consider. Does the splitter go vertically? Some of them are strictly horizontal, so you want to pay attention. You don't want to be lifting 30-inch rounds to get up on there. Next thing building on that is generally when you're running a wood splitter, you're splitting pretty decently sized logs. How do you get the logs up here? Like I just said, this can split vertically, so you can it's a lot easier to work with the log on the ground, but this doesn't have a lift gate. You're going to pay more for wood splitters that have that hydraulic lift gate, like your Wolf Ridges and your all wood splitters. All those big ones are going to have a hydraulic lift gate, which is absolutely money. But you know, you're talking, this is probably 1/5 the price. Again, just saying. So that's another thing to consider is how do you get the wood on top of the splitter? Does it go vertical? Does it have a lift gate? And also another thing too is, can you add accessories on it? Like this little screen, this little grate here, this is perfect to, you could stage wood on. If you're working with, you know, a family member, I work with my dad, so he'll often stage logs on this grate here while I'm running the splitter. So that's another thing is customizability. How to store logs, how many logs can it hold at a time? Those machines with the hydraulic arms, those things can hold quite a few rounds on them, so that's another thing to consider. Another thing to consider is, if you're getting into firewood, you never know who's going to burn what size logs. So this can split 24 inches. This is a 16-inch log, so you need to consider what is your maximum split. Are you doing just 16-inch camp wood? Are you splitting outdoor boiler logs? Do you need a 4-foot log splitter for some, more industrial machines or whatnot? So you need to consider the width that the machine can split. So as you can see, this is a 16-inch log, and you obviously have a little bit of an opening there if you want to get the 24-inch or 18 or whatever, you know what I mean? So you just want to consider that. Next thing, splitting head. Some log splitters have the ram here, and some of them have the base plate here, the flat plate, this one. So it's vice versa. Some of them have the wedges on this end, and this is the flat plate that pushes in and then the wood splits out. This counting line here has obviously the flat end down here, so the wood splits out to the side. Some wood splitters will push it out onto a little tray or right into a woodshed, so you need to consider the ergonomics of it, the flow. Once I split a log here, I got to grab it and throw it in, versus if this was reversed and I had the wedge down here facing this way and this plate was up here, I could just split that wood and it would fall right into a basket or right into a woodshed. So that's just another thing to consider, is how is it. The thing is your valving, and I'll overlay a clip over here. Does it have an automatic, I think it's called automatic reset? Meaning, I'll show a clip of it right now. When you're splitting the wood forward, you have to hold this out for it to go forward, and then you can just push it and it'll stay locked like that. And it'll, once it completely retracts, it'll release itself, and then you can pull it again for the next cycle. So that's another thing to consider, is does it have auto reset? I just thought of it. Does it have an auto reset? Because if not, you're going to have to hold it all the way back. That's going to take up some more time. Next thing to consider is your power plant. What does your wood splitter have for a motor? This is a Kohler 3000 series. I absolutely love this motor. I've had no problems with it. The only problems I've had with it is I've let it sit for too long and fuel gummed up, which would happen in any motor. But your Kohlers are good motors. Briggs & Stratton are pretty good. Your Honda motors are probably the best with the white tanks, the commercial grade motors. So definitely look at your power plant. How much horsepower is it? You know, if this is a 25-ton splitter and it's only 4 horse, well, there's a ratio between tonnage and horsepower. So that's another thing to consider. Another thing to consider while we're here is hydraulic fluid. What is your hydraulic fluid capacity? This plays into effect as far as cost to load. Some of these machines don't come loaded with fluid. So if you got 13 gallons in there and fluid's, you know, $25 for a gallon, I don't know, I'm just throwing numbers out there. You know, that's an extra cost involved. So figure out how much hydraulic fluid is in your machine to calculate when you are buying it. Another thing to consider is how easy is this thing to work on. Obviously the Kohler engine, air filter, gas tank, spark plug, mitt, that's all you need. Carburetor right under here. Hydraulic system, your hydraulic filter's right there exposed at the bottom. Very easy to work on. Tires are easy to change. All your lines, you can get to all your lines here if you needed to change something. So you need to look at how accessible is your machine for maintenance, serviceability, and all that fun shit. And one of the last things you need to consider is your cycle rate. How fast does this machine run? How fast does it cycle? Now I'll overlay a clip. I forget the actual cycle rate on this time, but in the next video I'm going to show you tricks to how to make your wood splitter run more efficiently. 3 tricks to make your life easier, which I'm going to do in the next video, and if I remember I'll put a link here or see the end of the video. But what is your cycle rate on your wood splitter? It means how fast does this ram come out, travel, and fully reset. That's generally, I think, how they time it. So that's pretty much it, guys. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, this is my counting line 25-ton log splitter. This isn't endorsed by them. I'm not trying to sell any of these units. It's just the concepts, the principles of what to look for in a wood splitter. So those are just some things to consider when buying a wood splitter, is everything I listed. So I hope this video helps. Most of the websites will list everything I said as far as maximum split, hydraulic oil capacity, cycle times, motor, horsepower, tonnage, and all that stuff. So generally speaking, log splitters, I forgot to mention this, come in the 20, 25, 30 ton. Some of the big ones are maybe more than that, but you definitely want to get well over the 20 ton machines. This 25 ton log splitter, again, not trying to sell it, this is just what I have, has split pretty much everything I've thrown at it. So yeah, those are just some things to consider. Hope this video helped. Doing my best. This weather has been crap all week, so just trying to get out here and make some videos. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think. Like I always say, we'll see you out in the woods.